Well, I think we will get back to the subject of rehabilitation now. Our first speaker today is Major General Sudhanta Ranasinghe, who served as the Commissioner General of Rehabilitation at a crucial time. And he will speak on rehabilitation of ex-combatants. Major General Sudhanta Ranasinghe was commissioned in December 1982, and at present he commands the elite Reserve Strike Division of the Sri Lanka Army, the 53rd Division. During his 31-year military career, he has held many key command responsibilities as well as staff and instructional assignments. He was the Director Operation of the Joint Operations Headquarters, and subsequently he was the Brigadier General Staff of the Security Forces Headquarters 1E, which coordinated the 1E humanitarian operations. He served under the commander of the army, the present commander of the army at that time. And as Commissioner General of Rehabilitation, he spearheaded the action plan that was prepared for rehabilitation of these ex-combatants. Ladies and gentlemen, Major General Sudhanta Ranasinghe.
General Yasim Malik, Secretary of Defense, Pakistan, Commander of the Army, Excellencies, distinguished guests, friends from afar and near, senior officers, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The Sri Lankan security forces fought against the brutal force of terror for 30 long years and adopted a different approach with the end of the terror campaign. The world's largest rescue operation in living memory was launched with a strategy to ensure that the people will experience no longer the smell of death, destruction, and dissolution, but a future of hope, prosperity, peace, and reconciliation. When security forces launched the humanitarian operation in year 2007 to liberate the innocent civilians who were held hostage by the LTTE, a parallel operation was executed to ensure the safety of civilians. This parallel operation was conducted as per instructions and supervision of the then Security Forces Commander 1E, the present commander of the Army. The operation was planned in 3 stages. As you can see on the screen, rescuing combatants from LTTE and reception of IDPs and surrendees, administering and resettlement of IDPs and surrendees, and rehabilitation of ex-combatants. An elaborate plan was drawn up to receive the IDPs and ex-combatants, adhering to the guidelines issued by the then Security Force Commander. Ensuring zero vulnerability of civilians to LTTE direct and indirect fire during the reception, provision of food and water immediately, provision of medical care, and transportation to safe areas after reception. Throughout the operation, all essential items were sent to the civilians in no-fire zone and LTTE-held areas through ICRC, although the government knew the most of it would fall into the hands of the LTTE. Further, the Green Ocean ship was launched with ICRC medics to evacuate patients, including wounded combatants, directly from Velemule Vaikal to the field hospitals Kulmude and Trincomalee during the height of fighting. Keeping with the international norms and regulations, separation of ex-combatants from the normal public was mandatory. Hence, security forces requested all ex-combatants to report to designated counters with the presence of ICRC. A large number of ex-combatants reported for rehabilitation willingly, having complete confidence with the security forces. The first traces of rehabilitation began when the Sri Lankan forces laid down their arms to quench the thirsty, feed the hungry, nurse the wounded, carry the elders, trace the relatives, and brought the child that was a cyanide capsule carrying a gun back to their parents. It was not a secret that by making the best use of issues on the slides, terrorist leadership took advantage to remold susceptible individuals, especially the youth, to their likings to meet their vested ends. The Sri Lankan model of rehabilitation for ex-combatants was initiated, designed, developed and implemented by the Sri Lanka Army. And this was specially developed and designed to suit the culture and ethics, norms and values, religious sentiments of Sri Lankans, especially to suit the Tamil-speaking people of North and East. The goals of Rehabilitation Action Plan are threefold: to safeguard the human rights of rehabilitees, victims of terrorism, the community, and the state's international obligations; to contribute towards sustainable peace, reconciliation, and social cohesion; to increase the employability of rehabilitees, and to create conditions for economic revitalization, and to transform the most dangerous terrorists to peace-loving, harmonious citizens of the country. These goals are achieved through set of principles: safeguards to protect the rights and security of rehabilitees, victims, and the community; equality of assistances; gender equity and responsiveness; confidentiality of data and prevention of stigmatization; and adopting a demand-driven approach on socio-economic rehabilitation. Out of approximately 300,000 IDPs, 11,664 ex-combatants either surrendered or were forced to surrender. These rehabilitees who joined the rehabilitation process at the initial stage were granted with a special amnesty. Consequent to the separation of ex-combatants from the normal public, they were accommodated at 24 protective accommodation and rehabilitation centers, commonly known as parks. Initial grouping was done the way they were collected for subsequent segregation as per the profiles. And all parks were provided with what's